It is our favorite time of the week again, time when we get to answer a few of your questions. Up first, Sagar, what have we got?
Stefan Genovese. Genovese, great last name. Community tab. Where are these polls? How may I participate? Well, Stefano, the community tab on YouTube. Those are for the general population. I've actually spoken with Supercast, and there are some polling functions that we might be able to do exclusively just for you guys, premium subscribers. So that's something that we're going to be rolling out future as well. Obviously, you guys are our #1 priority. Make sure you guys are taken care of. But yeah, if you want to participate in those more public polls, the ones that we put up on the screen, just to increase the sample size there, we put it on our community tab of our public YouTube channel, which is Breaking Polls.
Yeah, the response has been exciting, actually.
We got 84,000 votes on our first one, 64,000 on the other one. So I'm really excited about it. I think it's working really well.
Yeah, absolutely. So definitely check those out, guys, because we love to see what you're thinking on various issues. Next question, Nancy Ryback. Banksters and the elite criminals, Wall Street, Prince Andrew, the Sackler family, and all the other rich white-collar criminals have to start going to jail. Amen. Without justice for all, we are losing our democracies. I live in Canada. I was glued to your financial crisis. I'm still amazed, especially by Barack Obama, that these people still get to go home at night to their yachts and their mansions. What do you think we can do to start fighting back for justice against the elite class? It is such an important
Good point, Nancy.
And such a difficult question, because it is when people talk all the time about, oh, the democracy's in crisis, democracy's in crisis, like a big part of the reason that we're falling apart as a nation is because you see that there is no justice, that there is no accountability. If you have enough money, if you have enough power, if you have enough connections. And that is the most corrosive thing you can possibly imagine for the fabric of society. I mean, a few things. Number one would be get money out of politics so that it doesn't run this town. I think you have to not only deal with campaign finance, I think you also have to deal with the corrupt incentives of people looking to, influence peddle after they're done here or get hired by a corporation, because what ends up happening is the politicians, rather than caring about you, rather than caring about justice for, and making sure that the rules apply and the laws that they're passing apply to everyone, instead they're interested in protecting the donor class, protecting the elite class. And so that's how you end up with the system that we have. But it's utterly disgusting. I mean, we've tracked the corruption of the judicial system, how they have financial interests often at stake in the cases that they are ruling on that they should be recusing themselves from, and they're not. We've tracked the corruption, obviously, of Congress. We've tracked the corruption of the Fed. And as long as these things are allowed to stand, then yeah, there's going to be this two-tier system of justice that's just disgusting to watch.
Yeah, and you know what the real thing is? Information. People actually don't understand how the system is rigged specifically, and because of that, people get away with it. Like the carried interest loophole. If enough people understood the carried interest loophole, the damn thing would be closed. They just don't know. They have no idea. People know the system is rigged, but you have to try and point out the specifics. That these people literally get to pay less taxes than you do, including payroll taxes.
Yeah.
Because of a loophole specifically written into the law by Congress. Same thing with the step-up basis. Because you're never even going to come into contact with it, you have no idea. So then the politicians can just write it off.
Yeah.
Inform people about exactly how it works, the exact provisions that need to be closed. Because the way that they get it done is by making sure you have absolutely no idea.
Yeah, I mean, a good example of how there is finally looks to be some justice for, someone who's rich and famous is the R. Kelly trial.
Oh, yeah, right.
What happened? Right. There was a huge documentary, and there was a massive public outcry.
Yep.
And finally then, there is some modicum of justice. But that's what it took. They weren't going to do it on their own. It wasn't going to happen organically. There had to be that information put out there and the massive public backlash. And sadly, that's just where we're at.
That's right. Okay, number 3, Sean Ketchum, supplements. I really enjoyed your segment, Crystal, on supplements. Snake oil salesman supplements are something very important to me. I agree with finding worthy ones is no easy task. That's absolutely true. I was curious what both of you use for daily vitamins and nutrient supplements. What do you take, Crystal, if anything at all?
Okay, so I don't take much, but I do take like a collagen thing that I'll put in my coffee.
There you go.
It's going to make me stay young forever in my dreams. I also have like a hair and skin and nails gummy that I take.
Oh, I've heard about these.
I don't think that's
what is it? It's like
anything at all.
I forget. It's not collagen. It's something keratin. Is that what it
Something
is?
like that. I don't
Right.
think it does anything. I have like the extraordinarily brittle and weak nails, and they suck. And so I was
Well,
like,
maybe somebody will
that'll
send you
help.
some recommendations.
Maybe,
Yeah.
but anyway, that hasn't done anything for me. I do. I guess this counts. I'm sometimes like low on iron, so I have to take occasionally an iron pill. That's really about it. Obviously, I have all kinds of like creams and this and that, like that stuff, topical application. But in terms of what I actually ingest, that's pretty much it.
Got it. Okay. So I'm the walking pharmacy. Athletic Greens, which I love actually. We're drinking in the morning. It's like a greens vitamin supplement that you can drink in the morning. EPA, DHA, which is fish oil, basically. You know, I was listening to Andrew Huberman. I'm a huge fan of him. He put out this podcast where he's talking about there was a double-blind, placebo-controlled study that actually showed that fish oil, just taking enough EPA, DHA, was more effective at treating depression than like SSRIs. It's crazy, right? I mean,
Wow.
But if you think about it, people are very lacking in omega-3s. You know, if you don't have a varied enough diet, you know, especially for people who are not eating seafood or worry about the mercury, all that stuff. So I highly recommend that. The company I use is called Thorne, which is the better one. I take a pre-workout.
You said they like tested or something? Like, how do you know that you're getting what you're
because
supposed to be getting?
they have a lab where they actually test the actual amount of the supplements and they verify it forward. And then people who I trust who have tested their supplements on a regular basis have shown that they actually say what's in it. But again, why do you have to do this much research to make sure that what supplement
be-
you're getting,
that's
it should
exactly
just be on the bottle. If I'm taking fish oil, I want to know that it's actually fish oil.
Yeah.
You have to pay a real premium in order to make sure. That's actually a big problem. For sleep, I want to make sure I recommend this one. It's magnesium, apigenin, which is just chamomile extract, and L-theanine. If you take it all together, sleep like a baby.
Really?
Yeah, love it.
Good
I
for you.
love
You
it.
had trouble sleeping
I have
before.
terrible trouble sleeping
See,
for a
I've-
long time. Yeah.
I'm a great sleeper, but I actually like CBD for drowsiness. And
Yeah.
also, I get headaches sometimes, and CBD also relieves those headaches. So that's another.
That's actually also been proven for a lot in terms
Oh,
of
really?
CBD help. Yeah, for anxiety.
I mean,
sleep,
it may
all
just
these
be
things.
a placebo effect, but for me, it definitely works.
It's usually nervous system, right? So it's like that's one of the hardest things in order to calm down. Blue light glasses too. I wear those before bed. Makes you look like a weirdo, but they really do work. All right.
Interesting question. Thank you for that one.
Thank you.
All right, next we have John Beatty. What are journalists lacking in their perspective and training? Thinking back on a lot of criticism of journalists, I've been pondering about whether it's only the news network incentive structure or a lack of proper educational perspective that has been lost. I would love to hear about how you both developed in such a different direction than so many well-intentioned journalists. Well, I got fired, and that definitely helped. Listen, you're in the system, and you're shaped by it, and it's hard to see outside of that fishbowl. I think also, by the way, I'm referencing getting fired from MSNBC for those who don't know my sort of career trajectory, but I suspect most of you do at this point. I also would say, though, and I think that this probably holds true for you too, Sagar, like I didn't necessarily come up through the same path as the other people that were there. The first show that I was on, the show that I was on at MSNBC, The Cycle, when we started, I was the only person on the show that wasn't from Boston. Like it's, most people are from few areas of the country. They went to a few different elite schools. And so even if you may have surface level diversity, a lot of times it's a monoculture in terms of the sort of like upbringing and class. So I think the fact that I felt like a bit of an outsider and like I didn't really fit in, even when I was at MSNBC, I think having that sense and that little bit of distance maybe, helped enable me to go in a different direction. But listen, I'm thankful for MSNBC firing me every single day.
Yeah, I think you should. We're a lot bigger than they are now. I have always just been a natural-born skeptic, and I also didn't come up through the traditional ones. Being in conservative media will obviously do that to you. Really, the best piece of career advice I got was look around in the field that you're in. Look at the people who have been doing it for 10 years. Ask yourself, is that what you want to do? And when I was a White House correspondent, I mean, that is the kind of the pinnacle, right?
Yeah.
Like, you made it. You're like, that's one of the top places. I was like 25. I was getting all these interviews with the president. All these mainstream networks wanted to hire me. I mean, it's a very easy trajectory. And I remember being like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to sit here with this BS. and play part of this like fake game with, back and forth with Sarah Sanders or Kayleigh McEnany or whatever. I was like, this is all BS. And I was like, it doesn't matter for people who are at home. And I've been a longtime podcast listener. I knew there are millions of people out there who wanted something different. And I knew that they weren't being served by anybody like us. So then when we got our show, that's what we started to do. And that's why I think it happened all so quickly for us, is we both knew how bad the current system was and how big the opportunity was on the outside. So that was a huge thing for me. But look, for a lot of people, it's a comfortable life. You'll make pretty good money. The market doesn't really matter.
You'll have fancy friends.
You'll have fancy friends. You get invited to all of these things that I don't get invited to anymore, like receptions at whatever ambassador's house or like.
Sure, you're very sad about that.
Well, they were kind of nice.
You're more of an extrovert than me. Listen, I don't want to be at those things anyway.
If I go to the Greek ambassador's house and the man offers me some Greek appetizers, I'm gonna eat them because it sounds good, right? Some feta and some olives. Oh, it was good. Anyway, I'll give that up, for you guys, obviously, but. That life is very enticing to a lot of people. They like the proximity to power and they think it's cool. And that enough is, you can make a whole career out of that here in DC. And you can make a lot of money. That's the other thing you should not discount. Some of these anchors are getting paid big bucks.
I do think the question here about, is there a lack of proper educational perspective? I think the fact that there is a gigantic class blind spot.
Yeah, it's impossible to become a journalist today in Washington, DC, I would say, if you are not college educated.
Yeah, and you never have to have that sense of I'm betraying I'm betraying the people I grew up with. They're anonymous to you.
You have no idea.
And so it makes it a lot easier to just basically, protect power, which is what the media mostly does. Last question, Sagar, what do we got?
Sagar, weed, and 1 million subscribers. Okay, I'll be the one to ask. If we all rally together and get breaking points to 1 million subscribers by January 1st, 2022, will Sagar take a bong rip on air for all of us? The answer is no, because I won't do drugs, but...
After you just gave a list of 18 supplements that you're taking.
Those supplements are, those supplements are not mind-altering. Okay? Their body... They're
totally
jacked.
Different, Sagar.
They're not grown in the ground. No, it's a joke. All right. I will, though, for 1 million, maybe we should pose this to all of them. They could come up with a challenge for what we would do if we hit 1 million subscribers by January 1st. Although, that's pretty close. Where are we right? I don't even honestly know.
Well, listen, you guys got to understand that YouTube has decided they do not like us very much.
Right.
So we're at, hold on.
589,000.
589.
It's pretty good.
Which is good, but a lot's going to have to happen to get us to 1 million.
Here's the thing. We designed this business so that we don't have to chase subs, clicks, or any of that.
Yeah.
Because we used to have to do that at the Hill. And let me tell you, it's not fun for us or for you. You're not getting better content. And so that is really gonna be the mission. Look, I would love to hit 1 million subscribers, but honestly, the people who are the premium subscribers, you guys are the people who are actual customers and the people that we worry and care about the most. So I'll keep focused on you guys, making sure that the content comes out to you on time, that it's proper, that it's delivered, that you get your emails. That's why we're so big on customer service and all of that. That's what matters to me 10 times more than some subscriber count.
It is also worth pointing out too that we've leaned away from YouTube in a lot of ways.
For a reason.
And not just with the business model, but also the podcast audio version has
it's huge.
Taken off.
I had no idea.
Yeah, of course that didn't, that option didn't exist with Rising. So a huge proportion of our audience now comes on the podcast platforms and consumes it as a podcast. I'm sure you hear in the show, we've really tried to be conscious of that so that if we're putting up graphics, we're describing them so that people who are just listening are following along and getting it too, because increasingly that's a large portion of our audience there on the podcast network.
It's a good point. I want you guys to know we are talking about millions of downloads on podcasts. I had no idea the show would ever be this big as a podcast. Millions on Apple and on Spotify. And so that actually also changes the game in terms of what we have to worry about. I actually think it's better because now we're totally multifaceted.
Absolutely.
YouTube subs, it's like, okay, well, we got Spotify, we've got Apple. Look, still monopolies that we have to worry about and all of that, but we're not wholly as dependent. And then we have you guys on Supercast and all of that. So we're a pretty good business right now.
And people can consume it however is convenient for them. We used to always get questions from people about, can you put it on as a podcast? Because it would be less data and easier for me to consume and listen to all in one piece. So we've been really glad to provide that and very, very excited about how that has completely taken off. I think we were just number one in news.
Still are. I checked this morning.
Oh, really?
Number one on Spotify in the news category, beating the New York Times.
I mean,
it's crazy.
guys,
I never anticipated this.
That is so crazy.
Like,
It's totally crazy. Anyway, we love you guys. You're truly the best. You guys make us believe that something good could be possible in this country, and we don't have to like have a civil war like Marjorie Taylor Greene was apparently asking people about. So, so have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, and we will see you back here with a full show on Monday.
See you Monday.